Thank you very much, Mr. Nagato, for being with us despite your busy schedule. Thank you for the invitation. Now, we're in December, year-end, and the fact that we are able to get the time of Japan Post Holdings, I have to ask this question, which is relevant to the current poll about the New Year cards, Nengajo. So we'd like to do a poll on New Year cards. What poll? This is for the audience. One moment, please. How many of you send Nengajo, or do you send Nengajo? Or is it every year, or do you just reply to the ones you received, or have you stopped giving Nengajo, New Year cards?
So people who are sending New Year postcards every year, why is it moving around? I think we are counting more than half. Say every year they are sending postcards. So President Nagato, could you talk a little bit about the New Year postcard custom in Japan? Yes, thank you very much. Last year, 2.6 billion New Year postcards have been used. Suppose that Japan has 100 million population. That means 26 postcards per person in Japan. That's the norm. And we are using this every year to communicate with friends, thinking about last year and talking about the prospect for the new year. Or sometimes you can contact a friend that you haven't seen for many years and contact this or exchange postcards. Well, you can do that normal times, but it's difficult. So it's a good opportunity to re-establish a contact with your friends. It started in the Heian era in Japan, so a long time ago it started. It's a very important Japanese culture. So please send at least more than 26 postcards this year. Okay, thank you. We'd like to ask you questions. 3 years ago, you have listed your stock on the stock exchange, and Japan Post is famous among Japanese people. There are different stakeholders, large shareholders are concerned about the performance of the company. And could you first talk about the Japan Post Bank vision? 147 years ago, we started the mail posting service. And 143 years ago, we started the savings plan. And 102 years ago, we started the insurance business. So we are always in the proximity of the citizens. 125 million accounts we have in Japan. We are calling ourselves a total support company. We want to be a company for everyone in Japan. As you know, we went public 3 years ago. So we have to show good performance for the shareholders. This is another mission we have gained 3 years ago. On a consolidated basis, Japan Post has the highest revenue among the group companies, so it's most important. As you know, 3 years ago, January 29th, 3 years ago, Mr. Kuroda, the Bank of Japan governor, said that interest rates are too low, and we have 2.1 billion at savings, and also insurance have 7.5 billion. So assets. So the 94% come from the income from investments, and 6% comes from the fee income, like ATM. So we want to increase the ratio of the investment income. Right after the World War, we were getting the savings, and we deposited it with the government, and they were investing. Government was investing, and then we were part of the government. But the system is now different. We have to be independent, and we have to invest our assets and make profits. And savings are safe deposits. And we were investing mostly in JGBs. And after privatization, and the share of JGB share was 88%, and foreign bond investment was only 0.1% of our total portfolio. And it has been reviewed. Now it has increased to 30% for JGB, and the foreign bond share is now more than 30%. So we are diversifying the investment portfolio gradually over these years. However, for the foreign bonds, the savings are our main source of funds, so we can't be too risky. Therefore, 90% of the investments are invested into single A or better assets. We are not investing so much into emerging countries. Mostly, we are investing into mature country bonds. But just recently, because of the rise in the interest rates in the United States, the yen-based investment is we are getting the assets in yen and investing into dollars. So hedging cost is increasing. Therefore, just a simple vanilla foreign bonds cannot give us enough yield. So 2 years ago, we started alternative investments. The liquidity is low, but the return is higher. We have started alternative investment. At the moment, the portfolio increased to about 2 trillion yen. This year is the first year, but in our current 3-year business plan, in 3 years, we would like to bring it up to 8.5 trillion yen. So we are increasing alternative investments. And compared with other assets, liquidity is low, so we are being careful in carefully selecting which alternative assets to invest. Okay, next, I'd like to ask you some questions about the Kampo Insurance Company. So what is your vision for the total asset is 75 trillion yen. The accounting system in life insurance is a little bit different. In the case of savings, Japan Post, all of the return, including capital gain, is reflected on the P&L of the same year. But in the case of insurance, even if there is a revenue and the income, there is a tax. Therefore, there is a transfer to the reserve. So there is no capital gain or capital loss. Only the direct income will be reflected on the P&L for the same year. So 10% of the total revenue is investment, and 90% is the main insurance business. And because of the negative interest rates, mainly the insurance products, there are two, savings type and protection type. And not only for our company, but also for all of the life insurance companies, the savings type insurance products are not selling at all. That's why we are dependent almost all on the savings type. So protection type. So the medical area is something we are emphasizing. The medical insurance, and companies are introducing those products one after another. So we would like to do the same in order to diversify the portfolio of insurance products. And it's 10%. The investment is just 10% of the portfolio, but we have a 75 trillion yen in assets in insurance business. So we would like to increase that exposure as well. Banking business as well. Could you talk a little bit about the postal business? For the postal business, both for the savings and the insurance, we have 180 trillion yen in savings, and more than 90% of the savings are deposited in the post office. We have 233 branches in Japan. And for the insurance business, we have about 19,000 salespeople. Out of that, only 1,000 are at the insurance company, but the other people are at the post office. So we are reliant onto the post office branches. 18,000 people are there. So the sales, 2 trillion yen, is from the post office business. and the logistics business, and the 30% comes from the parcel business. As you know, for the last 10 years, every year 2.2% interest rate, 2.2% decline is happening every year for the post business because of the smartphone and internet penetration. So the sales are declining. We would like to cover up for this by the parcel business, delivery business. Luckily, in convenience stores, we have business there, 10 trillion yen, although e-commerce is already 16 trillion yen with a short history. But the last 1 mile delivery has to be done by the postal people. That's why we are trying to grow this business. Last year, about 2.66% growth year on year was recorded. Volume has increased, and we would like to continue with this momentum. Therefore, for the parcel business, we'd like to focus because the postal business is declining. And eventually, 50% should come from the parcel or delivery business, and the other 50% post business. And this year, we had 850 million pieces of delivery, and our target is 1.0 billion pieces per year. So we would like to grow this business as well. So you're also in the real estate business. Yes, we have 3 trillion yen in total. Out of that, the real estate sales is 25 billion. But we have a huge asset of 1.7 trillion yen in terms of the land. And the total asset for this business is 2.5 trillion yen. So we are the number 6 largest landholder in Japan. So we should take advantage of this huge asset of real estate. We have JP Tower, Kitte building right in front of Tokyo Station. We have landmark buildings in Nagoya and Osaka. And we are building another one by 2023. So we would like to grow this business as well. On April the 2nd this year, we established a subsidiary called Japan Post Fudosan.
So that this will become an independent business as well, so that enough revenue could be generated. We were working hard to that end. Now, regarding the real estate business, the fact that Japan Post Holdings could be do it independently or through MAA, we believe that Japan Post Holdings could do it on its own. For example, NTT Development or JR East Japan real estate businesses went through organic growth. So likewise, we think we can do it ourselves and also recruit enough people. We're doing that right now, talent recruitment. And with the adequate price, if there is a demand for that, if there's a request for us to engage, if we can explore such opportunities, we will not exclude M&A opportunities. Are you in negotiations? Nothing that I can speak about at all. Now, regarding your bank and the insurance, you mentioned a policy. You've announced a policy to sell all stocks. What happens then? The direction It's not some direction, but it's by law, privatization law for Japan Post Holdings. It's until FY 2022, 33% of our stake could be sold so that 4 trillion yen could be secured to be used in the rebuilding of the areas affected by the Great East Japan earthquake. We have no time limit, but according to the privatization law, all stocks of the bank and the insurance businesses must be sold. And what happens? Market cap is 5.5 trillion to 6 trillion. That's for the bank. Insurance 1.6 to 1.7 trillion. 80% voting, 88% voting rights. If we sell all the stakes, we get 5 trillion to 6 trillion. And will be no consolidated basis. There will be no revenue for insurance, and we have to think of the compensation how to compensate that. So M&A, alliance, investments could be means to compensate for the revenue lost by selling off the bank and insurance businesses. On the other hand, shareholders would look for the return per share. They want more return per share. At times, not just dividends, but also treasury shares should be bought back so that the value per share could go up. These are possibilities. The key is balance, striking the right balance. We haven't saw that. We have no money right now. There's nothing that I can speak in concrete terms at this time, but that's how we are contemplating. One more question, as far as time is concerned, regarding AI, artificial intelligence in the postal service. For example, route planning. I think you've done pilot projects using artificial intelligence for route planning. Any results? Well, there are two ways. AI technology, how it's used in our business. What we've done is in the insurance branch. When insurance money is going to be taken out, it's hard to make decisions about the insurance policy. We're professionals to make that determination, but there are some difficult areas. So we did a pilot project for a whole year to use AI. It's actually IBM's Watson to make insurance policy determinations, and the success rate was more than 95%. So we're using that already. We're doing that. Simple decisions are made by people, but about 40 cases per day is a difficult decision. So AI serves as a reference, and insurance succeeded in using AI. So call centers need to respond adequately at times and that's where AI could play a role. And the bank as well, in its call center functions, for example, about investment products, how to talk to customers, how to meet certain demands, requests on part of the customers, and there are 100 products. And for example, fintech as well, many creative solutions are based on AI. We're currently considering various options. And broadly speaking, regarding AI and IoT, our strategy, what to do with AI and IoT, I think it can be leveraged. Just the other day, a very large company approached us and told me he was only able to spend half a day, and there was discussions about how to use AI and IoT. So we would like to do that as well. Thank you very much, President Nagato, for your time. Thank you for this opportunity. I appreciate it. Thank you.